Hello, Rangy. Hi.
Oh, you okay?
Yes. Right. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. And today we have the pleasure to be joined by Rangy.
Thank you very much. Firstly, I'm really grateful for coming onto your show, and hopefully we can have a good dialogue today.
Yes. So we are here so the public knows a bit more about you, and for the public in general to know what is really going on. Right. So your name, people that can find you with the name is Oreganze B Latif, but you are very well known on TikTok with almost 25k followers, right, Ranji?
Yeah, everybody calls me Rangy because they can't pronounce my name.
So they can find you at rangy.lcs.news, and you have a website. Do you want to? Your website is www.lcs.news, and
Yes.
LCS is short for liars, criminals, and storytellers. Right, Ranjit, please inform us, please. Tell us why you broke the silence with a website 10 years ago.
Uh, well, in a nutshell, there was a lot of things actually happening in my home affair at the time, which involved raping of children. And I actually spoke up originally to the police about this situation. It was only when social workers became involved in my home affair that they changed my medical records and started lying about anything and telling stories. But unfortunately, at the time, I had to very simply I had to stay quiet because the social workers were threatening me, telling me that if I spoke up, if I said something, I'd go to jail, I'd get a criminal record, I'd go to jail, and then what would become of my children? I understood exactly what they meant. They wanted to abuse my children if I didn't stay silent. So then I had to go through a complaint procedure, which lasted about 4 years. And every stage, the investigating team that was investigating was telling me that there was major issues and problems. However, in 2018 was the last of the complaint procedure, which you could see that on my one of the videos banned on YouTube in UK. And then I still continue to try and be rational to keep out there and actually try to get as many police officers or departments to alert them of this situation, including people that were still out in the open raping children, including obviously what the authorities were doing, were covering up. In 2020, first month of 2020, really early days, I made my first video because I just couldn't, there was nowhere to go. I've gone through all the remakes, all the way to the top, and there's nobody running the show. So in beginning of 2020, I made a video of breaking silence. But when I made that video, what I realized was I had 99% of victims calling out for help and support. And I remember I was going through this for nearly 8 years at the time, and it was a dark place. There was no answers, and I wish somebody was there actually, like I am now. I wish there was somebody there. So I started supporting the members of the public in the first video. Then I made another video a few months later, and I realized it was the same thing. I was just getting more and more people in, and I was actually requesting help for myself to stop these atrocities. So that's when I started to think, well, and you got to remember at this point, I'd been to BBC News, ITV News, Sky News, Channel 4, and when I'm going to these departments and these people, for example, I'll give you an example, BBC News, I'd show them what I had and they would go on the sick. So I realized the information I had, everybody I was seeing to, everybody was leaving the departments, and including MPs, councillors, mayors, chief executives.
So, have they ever gave you a voice on BBC or ITV News? Have you ever spoken on TV?
No, they all looked the other way. And I knew at that point there was no voice for the public. So I thought, well, something's got to be done, and I'm prepared to speak up because what's paramount is our children. There's nothing far greater than the safety and security of our children in the future. So that's when I come up with this idea of having our own channel on website. I knew on Facebook and YouTube and all that they could probably try to ban and block.
Yeah.
So I designed my own website, and I wanted to keep it to the point of what it was.
Yeah.
And that's when I come up with the title, Liars, Criminals and Storytellers.
Yeah.
So I thought, okay, well, that's just perfect. And that's when I started, obviously, bringing in people with the victims that were getting involved. And it was a nightmare at the beginning because I was getting like hundreds a day that I had to reply back to. And, you know, just to reach out, I had people who were at a point of committing suicide. The children have been stolen, they're getting abused, the police are looking the other way, the judges are going along with this fraudulent information that's provided in front of them. And it was just barbaric, to say the least.
So how many people do you get contact? How many people ask you for help like every day, every week, every month? Do you have a number? Like,
well, I'll give you the number. If I'm going live or make any videos, once I make any form of videos, on an average I'll get between 2,000 and 5,000 people a week.
Yeah.
Which was traumatizing for me. I mean, last year, obviously, I didn't make any videos because they were trying to put a gagging order on me.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just ridiculous. Why would you want to put a gagging order on me when I'm speaking up against crimes? However, yeah, so I mean, now obviously I've just started going public again full time now. Now it's non-stop. And 100 people a day on an average are coming forward.
Yes, because if you go public, that's my belief. If you go public, you are protected.
Yeah, well, I realized that because when I was first making the videos, it was nerve-wracking, and I did have some officials come and see me and ask me to, like, back off and stay quiet. And I was like, well, how can I? I'd show them the information, and when I showed them the information, that's what changed them as well. They were like, okay, well, now we can see what you're talking about. Go do whatever you want to do, but make sure you let everybody know. The more people know you, the better it's going to be for you.
Yeah. Rangy, let me, for the people that have never heard about your story, so my understanding from what I look onto your website and from your videos, you have a timeline and everything is very clear. My understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that in 2014 you separate from the mother of your children, and after, if you could say how many children and how old are they now, would be brilliant. And then I understand that your children, that they were living with the mother, they left the mother's house, they come to your house and ask for your help. You use the word flee. The children flee mom's home. They come to your house and they ask you for help, and that do not want to go back to mother's home because they are being abused. I would like that you say and explain what abuse means, if it's physical, if it's sexually, if you want to say or not, it's up to you. Then I understand that the mother put a complaint because the children, they were with you, and then all the allegations that you hear that your children say about the mother, it becomes used against you by the social services.
Yes. Yeah, so in a nutshell, the children were living with the mother. At the time, I had a 4-year-old, 9-year-old, 12-year-old, and a 15-year-old. However, all 4 didn't live with the mother. It was only the other 3. The little one, 4-year-old, he actually lived with me from birth. There was no issues between me and my partner in the past. I was seeing him on all the holidays, and yet we were still together. We only separated in 2014 after some information came about that obviously stopped our relationship, which was fine. I kept it amicable. And then obviously I got attacked, obviously, with the wife because the children fled. So the fleeing to what they said at the time, well, actually, they didn't really say much to me on the first day because they were nervous. One of the biggest things that I picked up was they said, "Dad, look, we have a lot of things to tell you, but we don't know how to tell you." So this was a sign of concern for me, because I'm also a safeguarding child protection, got qualifications. I understood what that meant. So to put their mind at rest, I took them home, got them to relax, took them to school, tried to deal with it in a civilized manner. However, during the time, it started to come out that my children were subject to physical abuse, emotional abuse, psychological abuse, alienation, intimidation, threats, and more. I'll leave it at that.
Okay.
And this was quite disturbing. So when the social workers got involved, and this is because the mother started making allegations against me. Yes, there hasn't been no form of domestic violence or anything in the 16, 17 years of our relationship, which we will. I mean, this is all sugar-coated, by the way. Everything you've been that I've actually released so far is sugar-coated. I don't go into too much because I've got to do safeguarding.
Yeah.
When the social workers got involved, or what they did, they had a preconceived view and ideas about me. So in their mind, they even put the title down. I was no longer an Englishman now. I was known as an Asian, British, Pakistani man who happened to be a Muslim. So all these titles were now I was getting attacked on. So somebody else does something in some part of the country, well, you're a Pakistani, if it's a Muslim, you're the Muslim. If you're the father, you're the man. So in the documents, what they started to do right from the beginning, which was a Section 7 report, they started to change my history, my medical history. So I'll give you an example on a video that if I was attacked by somebody and somebody tried to take my life, what they did is they reported in their document that I attacked somebody else and I was trying to take somebody else's life, which was just unbelievable. Yet the fascinating thing was no social worker actually came to see me or my children to learn from our side or even why they got involved. So most of these are women social workers, so they have their own little ideas. There's nothing tangible real about it. And, after the threats and everything I was getting, I was going through the complaint procedure. It was just, it was traumatizing at the time, more for my children, because my children were speaking up about this.
Yeah.
They were ringing 999, Childline, NSPCC. The schools knew about it. They were writing letters about who had been abusing them and where it was happening. But nobody went to.
So if your children, they were ringing 999, for the people that do not know, 999 is the police number.
Yeah.
So they were screaming for help.
Yeah. They were screaming for help.
And they were in the mother's house when that happened.
It's separate because they have done it in the mother's home, but what they were doing, what would happen is when the children would call out for help, then there's nobody there to watch what's happening. They would then get bullied, intimidated, and threatened or beaten up.
Yeah.
That stay silent, you can't do this. You know what I mean? And this was more frustrating, and this went on for quite a little while. And I realized after all the efforts of one of my children, with the efforts that they put in to try to reach out for help, somewhere across the line, my children decided that independently themselves, I didn't know about this, that they would record the crimes to hand and tell the social workers that, look, this is what's happening, we need your help. But because I was in a complaint procedure, nobody wanted to know. But as we now know, on these recordings, while these crimes were taking place, the social workers were in the same room while these crimes taking place, in the mother's home, while these crimes are happening. But the same social worker then would report them same crimes that they're taking place in my home 25 miles away.
Rangy, in one video, one of the things that you said is when the social worker is at your home, on the day after that the social worker lied in court, because you said to the social worker, go to my daughter and ask her with who that she wants to stay, if that she wants to stay with mom or with dad. And the social worker said in court that the girl, the daughter, wanted to be with the mother. And your daughter was shocked and was completely in stress with that. And on the day after, the social worker goes back to your home and you ask her, why would you lie? And she said, we are the law. You do what we tell you. If you don't, you get a criminal record.
Yeah. Well, firstly, it wasn't me as the social workers, it was the judge. The judge said, go find out from this girl where she wants to live. So they went on the afternoon. My daughter told them exactly what she said to them. When they came back, they lied to the judge to force my daughter against her will. And that was the beginning of the nightmares that she went through. Because every time she spoke up, it was just horrible, yes.
So it seems that you had, fortunately, some friends that they were in the legal department. You did ask for some help from your friends, and they said to you, if we try to help you, we can lose our job.
Yes, this was a pattern immediately that started to happen, because I went through 13 social workers, 14 managers, 5 directors. Anybody who is actually involved. So one of the issues that they have, I had a family friend at my home one day during this process with his wife and his child, because, we're family-oriented people, and they were English or white. I mean, for me, it doesn't matter, but yeah, so they came to my home. We were having a nice little day, and the social workers turned up. And when they turned up, I didn't want to be alone, so I asked the gentleman if he could just sit with me while they were there. So we had this conversation, tried to have this conversation with the social worker, but there was a new social worker team manager that came with them. So I wanted to make the team manager be aware of what's been happening. So one of the letters that my daughter had been writing, I handed one of those letters to the team manager. And the social worker snatched it out of his hand, okay, and started making false allegations. So this gentleman that was with me, he then said to me, he goes, look, Mr. Latif, with what just happened in front of my face, this is illegal what they're doing, so I'm going to ask you to just stop this meeting. So we stopped the meeting, no problem. So they went off, no problem. A week later, this man rings me up. So let me tell you how stupid or criminals these people are. This man that was with me was working in the same department of social services, but one of the seniors. Because I'm born and bred here, I knew everybody. I've known him for 25, 30 years. So the gentleman rings me up and he goes, the shit is about to hit the fan. That's the word he used. I said, why? He goes, because that social worker that was in your house threatening, she just realized who I was. But while that was going on, it was game over, because that social worker, what she did, in her document, she written down that they came to my home while they were sat with me. I had 2 friends that turned up that intimidated and threatened them, and they had to leave, which is completely a lie, perjury.
Yeah.
Yet this person now is a civil servant.
Yeah.
So they should have been out actually in the stage to investigate. But it's just to avoid everything. So this is, anybody who I would speak to, even social workers, don't get me wrong, they didn't have to be my friends.
Yeah.
When I got to the 5th social worker, they would make allegations against me in a call group meeting. I was like, hey, look, that's not true. So I'd sit down with them 5 minutes. I'd show them a piece of documentation, some information. And the social worker would say, look, Mr. Latif, I'm really sorry for what I've said. This is illegal what I've been presented, and you haven't done these crimes, so I'm going to sort this out, and in 30 days we will fix this. So 30 days later, the next core group meeting I go to, and they've sacked, removed, or sent that social worker on the sick. So I've got another one now, and she's working with the preconceived ideas or the fraudulent information that the previous one made because they didn't get rectified. So she's doing the very same thing. So then I'll do the same thing again. I'll show her another piece of information. She would apologize. She would go, and 30 days later, she's sacked, removed, or sent on the sick. So like this, I've just gone through 13 social workers, 14 managers, 5 directors. They all knew about the criminal acts they were doing.
So 13 social workers in how long?
2 years.
That's not normal, is it?
That's like, it's ridiculous. We worked out like one for every 2 months kind of thing.
So
and yes,
they keep bringing another one just to do the cover up.
Yeah, just to the cover up. Now, the worst thing is, remember I said to you right at the beginning that they came involved in my home affair and they never spoke to me. So if you didn't speak to me, what are you actually writing down in the documents?
Yeah.
If you don't know anything about me or my children, what are you writing down in the documents?
Yeah.
But they kept doing this. I mean, it was worse than, it's a lot worse. It's in the documents that social workers were advising my partner, ex-partner, my wife, the mother of my children, to break court orders to punish me. So she would break court orders. But when it went to court, they were blaming me for it.
Yeah.
It went further where social workers would get the judge to make a court order. Yeah. Then the social worker would break that court order. But when it goes to court, they'd say, oh, Mr. Latif broke the court order.
Yes. Yeah, you have the papers to prove that. Now, your daughter, she recorded herself, and on that recording, from the 6th of October 2014, where she says what she wants, and she's crying, she's saying that no one is listening to her. And on the 7th of October 2014, the recording says, I said I want to live with Dad. I want my brother to live with my dad. There are many reasons why. And on the 9th of October 2014, the recording that you shared, the social worker says, when she says, I want to live with Dad, but no one seems to understand that, you can hear the social worker saying, don't upset your mom, give a chance to her. Your dad has strict rules. With your mom, we can work. Everyone has to be happy.
Now, you see, that recording was very traumatizing. My daughter actually made that. I didn't know about that. When anybody actually listens to it, that wasn't even directed to me. That was actually directed to the public or somebody in charge. And she went through quite a bit. Now, the way the social worker said, work things out with your mom. Now, you could only work things out with the person if you know what the problem is. So if you've not spoken to the child, how can you try to fix a relationship with two people if you don't know what it is? So here's the situation with this live now, where my daughter is going through physical, emotional, psychological abuse. But the social worker wants her to work it out with the perpetrator. Yeah. It doesn't work like that. So one of the things that she also said is that I have strict rules. What do you mean by strict rules? The only rules my children ever known about is go to bed early, get ready for in the morning, so I can take you to school, college, study well, and eat properly, which obviously is going to be provided. That's the only rules that I have in my life, and my children know this. But this was particularly goading my child, alienating my child, and speaking badly of a parent. Is this the social worker's job?
Yeah.
No. But this same social worker, on the 6th was the court date when they went. This was the same social worker that lied it then to the court. This is the same social worker on the 7th that she turned up on my doorstep, and I confronted her, saying that obviously, why did you lie? She's the one that turned around and said, we are the law, you do what we say. or else you'll get a criminal record, and what will become of your children? You see, and then she's the one on that day. But yet, this is still the tip of the iceberg, because on that day, when the recording with the mother in the car and the social worker, on that day, my daughter was kidnapped from the school. How they got her out of the school, because when they originally went for her, she locked herself up in the toilets because she was petrified, because that video that she made on the 6th is very clear that there's something going on, that you need to speak to the child. So when they turned up at school, they tried to groom her to say come out. She wouldn't come out. So then they lied to her. What they said to her, that her older brother is outside in the car waiting for her. So she had a bit of encouragement and thought, okay, I'll go outside. So when they got out the front door, the social worker put her hand on the back of my daughter, and the mother put her hand on the back of her door and pushed her all the way to the car, because at this point she's going hysterical. She could see that there's nobody there, you see.
Yeah.
So this is really, really bad. I mean, there's a lot more to this, but I mean, there's a lot more evidence to this.
Yeah.
But due to safeguard and child protection, I was limited to show what I can.
You don't have to comment, but what I'm going to say now. But obviously, I'm talking to who is listening to us, and from what I've seen and from what I know in general, my understanding is that the mother of the children have such power that she can do whatever she's doing to the children. She's obviously, from what you are saying, she's abusing the children. The children, they are speaking up, they're screaming for help. And she's very powerful. And the social workers, they are obviously protecting the mother. And there is a huge cover-up on this. And this smells, obviously, sexual abuse. This smells to me that the mom is selling the bodies of the children, and someone very high is abusing the children, and the social workers, that's what they are there for, to sell the children and to abuse the children. So all of these, that's what smells sexual abuse, which ones we know that in England, unfortunately, is everyone knows, but no one speaks, and we don't need to go too far. You know, Jimmy Savile, everyone knows who Jimmy Savile is. Everyone knows Jimmy Savile was around, and not long time ago as well, we hear that Prince, what's his name? The younger one is with the other guy in America. That there is a list of abusers. The list is not public. And the guy just commits suicide, they say, and that's all it smells. It really smells sexual abuse, and the social services, they are protecting this mother. So this mother is definitely very powerful. Now, I don't need you to comment on that. So I know that you have been on stage 1 investigation, you did stage 2 investigation. The director leaves the job. These independent people, they have stated that the social worker is biased towards the mother. The father has been treated differently. There is a stage 3 investigation. They didn't allow the investigation stage 3. There is a court case. From my understanding, after there is, let's see if I pronounce correct, Ombudsman is involved, and you make a complaint. They are being biased towards the children's mother. They ignore the concerns. There is a prejudged situation. There is false accusations. They provide false information to the courts. They are withholding information from the courts. There is a unprofessional and unethical approach by the social services. There is lack of cultural awareness. There is 13 complaints in total. And after they call you and they say, there is a crime that has happened at the mother's house, but has been reported to have happened at the dad's house. So independent people, they say, yeah, we know that there is a crime that have happened in the mom's home, but this has been reported towards you. and this has happened in 2017. And I know that after this carries on, you involve the police in Scotland. No one wants to get involved. You have been looking for your boys. The mother hands over the older one to you. So it looks like he has been used enough time now. I don't want to deal with him. That's enough. He's not of my use anymore. He goes to you. And after you stay about like more than 3 years without seeing your younger son, do you know where your son is? Have you seen him? Do you have any news?
The last time I know my son seen him was 2017. At that time, there was the older one with him as well, the one that's just older than him because I got him in stages. And when I actually got him back, on the way back home, which is on Boxing Day in 2018, he actually tells us, to his sister and myself, that when are we going to go back for the little one? Because he's concerned. Now, he's 12-year-old and he's telling me this, because this has been going on behind the scenes. He's concerned. What's he concerned about? The same crimes that were taking place before social workers were involved continue to take place the whole duration of social services involved, and continue to take place after, and still continue today. Now, in 2018, I managed to get some slips, and I got one child back. I went back for the next one to get for contact, and through legal, and the legal team told me in Scotland that she's moved home. So she kept moving homes now to home to keep hold of that child, so we never find out what he's subjected to. And eventually the trace led that she's left Scotland because there's two different laws. Now she's somewhere in the UK. Now the problem is, I still haven't seen him, the children haven't seen him. If I go to her, because of this fraudulent government, okay, and it's all run by women, okay, it's women abusing women and children in general, but stripping the fathers, because we have two rights, you see. You have a father's right and a mother's rights. That's what they were trying to do at the beginning. Take my rights away from me and then go for the children from the mother. She obviously went along with it because she was getting whatever she wanted. So right now, when it comes to the little one, I have no idea what kind of state of affairs he'll be in. Yet the crime that we're just talking about, that was on audio recording, not just one audio. That was my child. That was that child that's missing today. Yeah. And he still probably will be suffering. But this is the thing. This has got nothing to do with safeguarding children or child protection. This is corruption. You see, there's nothing real about these people. And I think more importantly, I do remind people, this is not our government. These are private contracting companies by being given a job to do. And they're not doing a job. They're too busy stealing children, making documentations of their own, which is the storytelling business, just to steal children to keep them moving forward and have bonuses. And you only get bonuses when you hit targets. This is in the schedule. People can actually look on the government website and you'll see it. Yeah. You have targets. So I haven't seen him now since 2017. The last time I spoke to him, he was saying about how he's being mistreated. Both of them were at that time because they were both still with the mother. Yeah. And they both told us in front of other professionals. But yet the contact was then stopped, and then I had to chase where they are, and then to find out. Then I could manage to get one. But I have no idea. I don't even know if he's still here. I don't know anything. Yeah. And that's why I didn't want to argue with the mother anymore, because they like the authorities, these corporate companies like the mother to fight the father to fight them. Yeah. Well, I don't want to go fight the mother, because who's the root cause? Social services are the one that brought this upon all of us. So social services are the ones that I'm going to expose and bring them all to the gutters, where they belong. Yeah. But yet there's a lot of good social workers out there, which I understand. I totally do understand there's a lot of good social workers. And they do, when they speak up, they just get sacked. I mean, don't get me wrong, not just them. I've even had police officers who have reported this too, that take the concerns and they get sacked. So the whole country now is run by, in a way, a bunch of paedophiles.
Yeah.
This is what people say. It's like a grooming paedophile ring.
Yeah.
So what they have been doing, which I can say, is they get everybody to look up here, look over here. The public, there's some rapes going over there. Yet they're the ones that are allowing the rapes to begin with. You see?
Yeah.
So it's just a political game just to get more money, more funding. So when 2 weeks ago, they got 500 million. Just finish up there.
Say it again, please.
2 weeks ago, the social services departments went to the government from the taxpayers and received another 500 million to help them with their cause. Why are you giving them 500 million? There is solutions. Stop being liars, stop being criminals, and stop telling stories and save that money. But 500 million comes in, that means we will lose another 100,000 children.
Yeah.
You see, this is the circumstances.
Yeah. Rangy, you started by when you broke the silence. There is a famous van that they can see it on your TikTok videos, on YouTube and Facebook. And there is a video that I watched where there is a man called Matthew. And I believe that she would be a social worker. She has a face of a social worker. I'm not sure if she's a social worker or not. But I can recognize the face, the evil. The
evil face.
Yes.
Let me tell you about this quickly, briefly. Now, this was 2 councillors from Middlesbrough in 2021 that wanted to find out who's this man with this van, what's he talking about? So it was through a third party that was arranged. So we had this meeting where when you listen to it, you can see that they intimidate me, they threaten me, they try to blackmail me. Nothing works. The only thing is they didn't know I was videoing it. But I had to video it for my safety because I know what they like, because they lie as criminal storytellers. So now I want to make it very clear. These same 2 people that came on, I'd actually spoken to the same 2 people in 2016 while it was happening, and they both ignored me. Then on top of that, in 2018, my daughter emailed them both with the information that I need your help, and they ignored them as well. And then they have the audacity to come to me to say, what am I doing? But yeah, I mean, they're all in on it.
And all they say is, please go through the procedure. Please take the van. Don't go public, and keep it all quiet whilst your children, they are being abused. Whilst we just go through complaints that they won't take forever and years, and nothing is done. But please keep it quiet and silent, because there is another different way, the correct way to do it, and is disgraceful. Everything that they say is horrible.
Absolutely. And the worst thing is, I don't think they understand English or even know the procedure themselves, because I'd explained to them in that meeting that I have gone through the procedure. You go up the ladders all the way to the top, that eventually becomes a blaming game. It wasn't me, it was the judge. It wasn't me, it was the police. It wasn't me, it was somebody else. Now, that's not a complaint procedure. That's a lunatic asylum. You know what I mean? So I explained to them that I've been through a complaint procedure and they found guilty. What you do about it and how you cover it up, that's your issue separate. Yeah. You see? So if you remember in that video, I mentioned a number of times that why don't they meet me up and let's show them what I have. And even till today, neither one of them has came forward.
Yes.
Neither one of them.
Yes, because everything is so simple when there is just a recording of your daughter saying that she does not want to go to the mother's home because there is things happening in there and she wants to go to that. That's that simple. Everyone that listens to that recording, they can understand what is happening. There is a cover-up and they are protecting the mother. Now, regarding like on the law, on the correct procedure, you have done everything that you can do.
Yeah.
Have you tried to go to the European Court?
No, I've not gone to European Court, but for me, that's going to be a waste of time as well. Simply because that's what's known as a shit show. The system is corrupt, okay? So you got to now understand where I'm coming from now. Very, very simply. We're in a situation, the public, that they could abuse our children, but we've got to go through a complaint procedure. What psychopath came up with this idea? You see? Now, what us as the public members, now we have cases where they make things up. Okay, so they make things up and they steal our children. Yes, mine was one of those cases where I wanted genuine intervention because my children were going through this abuse. So what happens when you actually have victims that are speaking out? Like he says on my ban, children victims are being victimized under the fake flag of safeguarding children child protection. Why? Because the longer the delay, the more they keep hold, the more money they make. This is the issue again. But it's like legal teams. Now, I've been to a lot of solicitors with my information because the full information I don't talk about here, but I will open it up for you next time because it actually involves a lot of information regards rape. Because in that video that I originally made, banned on YouTube in UK, where I broke it down a little bit, I give you a 30-day context of what was happening. And remember I said to you, no social worker in that whole 2.5 years have been to see me why they got involved to begin with. You see? So they've never got involved. What do they know? Well, they don't know anything. Well, it actually involves my family members and others who had been raping children that I've broken silence on. And as a result of that, I was petrol bombed, I was attacked, I had my finger bit off, my head smashed open with a hammer. I had people of the community come and see me to ask me to get victims of child sexual abuse to drop charges and how much would it take. Everything I've just said to you had been reported to the police that they know everything about it. Yet everything that we just talk about now, the social services covered it up by changing my medical, my history. You see, so I'm going to keep it one topic at a time because there is a lot more to it. Which the more you talk, the more it gets more of a distressing situation, more upsetting, and more horrific for us, especially for the viewers, because now at least we know why these crimes continue to take place.
Yeah, but the viewers, they have to know the truth because my son has been taken. Your children have been abused. You have been abused. I have been abused.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, the people, they cannot say that is not going to happen to me because if they have a child or if they have a granddaughter or a grandson, the things that can happen to them. No one is free of this happening. I know that your daughter, she armed herself. She started to arm herself. Is a sign of abuse. So I would ask you now, from what you have seen, you have been on these 10 years. From everything that you know, what can we do? What do you believe that that's the way to go? What's the future? What can we do? What's the solution?
Right. Well, there's this number of things. Now, firstly, when these people get involved, for those who don't know what's happening, they need to take all safeguarding in consideration. Firstly, don't let these people into your homes, full stop. Because I'm in a situation to get cases that are new, then there's some that are 3-year-old, and there's a lot more work with them, and then it just goes on. But they need to record every meeting they're going to if they get involved in your home affair. This is on one side at the moment for safeguarding. So you need to record everything, you need to have somebody with you, an advocate of some sort, and document everything, because they will commit perjury. They have a tendency to lie do crimes because it's an incentive, the bonuses.
But Rangy, but no one has to open a door to a social worker. And when they come with a police, the police has to have a warrant to go inside your house. So if the police does not have it, and if the social worker screams and shouts they want to go in, you don't have to open the door. You don't have to sign a contract with them.
Now, well, here's the issue that we have. In UK, the judge doesn't make the court orders. It's the local authorities, social workers make their own court orders. And then they tell the police to come with them. Most of the time, they just tell them that we've got a court order. That doesn't exist. We know this.
Yeah, but because the paperwork that I have, nothing is signed by a judge. Yes. Nothing goes through the post office. All the paperwork goes under the door.
Under the door, absolutely, which is all fraudulent.
That's correct.
But there's a link between the police and the social workers. See, like social workers is a private corporate company owned by foreign internationals. Well, so is our police department. It's a private corporate company owned by foreign international.
Private corporations.
The same paymaster, you see, internationally. So it's the same paymaster there. So their loyalty is to social services, not to the public.
So the police is in there only to use the force, and they kidnap the children because they use fraudulent papers and they use the force. So that is the legal definition of kidnap.
Yes, but this is why they're stuck now, because it was the police that would take the children from my home, take them to the perpetrator's home while they were getting abused. So the police, now I'm targeting, I'm going for the police. It's a corrupt police force. Because this police force is actually handing our children to the abusers. And this is not just in families. When they give them to, for example, foster care homes, I can tell you evidence that a child, a 9-year-old child, is in a foster care home and has his arm broken in 2 places. The parents complain, what's happened there? They say, oh, it was an accident. But yet, if that accident happened in their home, they'd have been going to jail. So you see, the foster care homes is the same company. It's all limited companies.
So who owns these?
It's the same corporate companies. Example, I have a director who of Children's Social Services that I've just made her run from Middlesbrough because she's been allowing the abuse to take place. But what these people have been doing, they get into a title. Then what they do is they go and open a limited company foster care home. So when they've opened it, for them 4 years of term while they're there, they steal the children to fill their foster care homes. But we have judges who got foster care homes. You see, this is a conflict of interest. You see, they open, they create the demand, they steal our children, and then put them in there. Okay, so I want to put it at long term, it's a repeat order business. So I'll give you an example of live events. These are taking place. A child was taken in the 70s from social services from a loving family, a little boy, 6-year-old. They put him in care home. He's in care home till he's 18. He comes out. He gets himself sorted. He's still obviously speaking to his parents. Eventually, he becomes obviously, I think he's 20, 21-year-old, meets a partner, and he settles down and he has a child. When he has that child, the social workers became involved in his home and said, well, we don't think you're capable of keeping a child because you were in a care home and we're going to take your child. So he had a baby girl. So now they take that baby girl, same process again, 18-year-old, they kick him off the equation. Next thing you know, she comes out, I think she was 22, meets somebody, happily settle down. When she has a child, they said, oh, well, we're taking your child because you've been in care, you're not fit enough. Well, you're stealing children. And yet these 2 people, eventually, they were great. They've learned. But the point is, they steal children firstly to begin with, and then they obviously, it's a repeat order business, round and round. This is child trafficking.
Yeah.
setting you up for the future to come.
Yeah.
Now, look, they have a target. I'll mention this before I give you the goals of how to tackle these. The target I found was over a year and a half ago, where the target was by 2025 to take 2.5 million children a year.
Can you say that again?
The target on the government website had that their target by 2025 was to remove 2.5 million children. Okay, now 2.5 years ago, or 2 years ago, when I knew about this, at that time they were taking in between 180 to 200,000 children a year. Now you could ask yourself, where are these children going? What is going on here? You see, but their targets have increased a lot. This last year, we believe it's gone well over 500,000. And 2025 is next year, so there's this year to go. So they're going to be putting these targets in place. I mean, I can say more on not these targets, is the corruption. It was in the papers a couple of years ago, I can't remember which Prime Minister was, that they accepted that they handed over 10,000 children to a child trafficking ring. So this is the authorities saying, yeah, we handed 10,000 children to a child trafficking. Well, go get them. They don't want to do nothing. Because the child trafficking ring probably is owned by them. Yeah. You see, this is the issue. Yeah. So going back to what we're going to do, what people need to do. Firstly, you need to safeguard yourself in every single place you can, but we need people to wake up on this matter. Now, at the moment with what I'm doing, I'm exposing everybody in every town and city, not just my own now, because I've got evidence in every town and city. If we don't fight and deal with these people, we are going to lose another 1 million children within the next 24 months. And children, we're not going to allow that. The public in general is in civil arrest. They're just sick. They're sick of this abuse. But one of the techniques they do to gag people is they use your children against you as a weapon and say silent or else. Now, you could do that with the people that you're doing now, like they did with me. But I'm not in that situation now, and I can talk. And I tell the truth. And this is with the benefit of LCS.news. Because we're going to be reporting everything on the LCS.news. Which department this is happening, which social worker by name. Look, if I know there's a perpetrator out there, should I not tell the public? I've got to tell the public for them to protect themselves from that perpetrator. But in this case, at the moment, you're looking at about 100,000 people who are liars, criminals, and storytellers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's really shocking.
I have seen that some parents, they approach me and they say, I want to speak, but my son is, I have a visit, like, I don't want to lie, but it's like probably 30 minutes once a year or something similar to this, but it's one visit per year, and I don't have that. So obviously these parents, they want to have the opportunity to see the child once a year to see if they are all right or not. So because of that, they don't want to make it public. So it's only because of that. But they know that they have to speak out because there is no other way. There is so many parents on these. So if there is so many parents that they are holding on to that visit, how can we make other parents to speak up? How can we say to them, stop having the fear and speak up?
Okay, well, there's a very simple answer to that, because now it's public media now, okay? They can't break silence because of that entrapment, which is illegal. But I can. And many, many people like us, we can. All we're going to do is we're going to do our safeguarding child protection, put them out of the way. As long as we got evidence, which I'm already doing, we could turn around and say which department it is, which social work it is, and if anybody wants any information, clarity, please come forward. Because the police are inadequate. So I don't worry about the police no more. I don't worry about the social services no more. I can expose every one of them. Now, there are some parents in that same situation that have come to a point where if I'm going to go through 13 minutes, for example, or an hour, or even once every 3 months, for 2 hours, that's not worth it. I want to go public. And, I understand and I agree with what they say. You've just stolen a child illegally, and you're now holding them with the child as ransom to keep you silent. Well, people are now starting to break silence about that as well. But I do always recommend public not to do that, because while the child is still in that situation, I still need the public to have that contact with that child, because our children are being mistreated on the other side. We have evidence for this now. Okay, nobody's going to take responsibility. We have evidence for this. The judges are shit at their job. And what makes them shit at their job, because they work with lies, criminals, and storytellers, they do exactly what these criminals tell them to do.
I have been told that the judges, they're worse social workers.
Yeah, well, the problem that you have, it's not every judge, not every social worker is the same thing, but the judges now are in a situation where usually you can't defend yourself. We've got cases where all the allegations that the local authorities made against the parent, the mother, we presented that, the woman is actually, the mother has presented that to him, that these are all lies. Yet the judge will still say, well, I still believe the social authorities. You see, so the family courts is corrupt. You don't even go in there. And if this really eventually, it's going to probably come to a point that if you steal our child, we'll go back to the olden days, you'll get a beating. Whether you're a police officer, it won't matter.
Yeah.
Because look, if a public member came and tried to steal your child, what would you do? You'd rip their face to bits.
Yeah.
So special about these? There's nothing special about them. All they have is they've got the police in their pockets and the judges are selling us out. But that's in family courts. Now the judges know this is happening.
Yeah.
So you see, with my case is a prime example. That all the crimes that the social workers did, they blamed it on the judges. So people like Judge Matthews and Judge Spencer in Middlesbrough Family Courts are criminals. What makes them criminals? Well, the authorities have just told us through the Ombudsman that they knew everything about it. Now, that's why I'm contesting. You see that complaint that you read? I never spoke to no judge. I've never been to no court arena. So it's a blaming game. Now, once you start blaming the judges, well, it's a criminal offence. And the judges need to be looked at. Not just looked at. I want to know from the judges, did you know about it or didn't you know about it? Just to answer the questions. If they don't answer the questions, then they are aiding and abetting the child trafficking and child abuse ring.
Yeah.
And they don't like it. They just don't want to stomach it.
I think my advice to the people that are watching us is try to sort out your problems in your home between the men and wife and the husband. Try to deal inside yourselves, because once you go to the social services asking for benefits or whatever, you are asking them to inside your home, and they are child traffickers. If there is a case that they want your child, because if you are vulnerable, they will come for your children. If they are pretty children, make sure that they will come, and they are going to make money with your children, and after they are just going to keep you on a circle, like very busy, going in and out of the courts, and there is nothing that you can do. Your children are going to get abused, your grandchildren are going to get abused, and there is a circle on that. I think my belief is that the solution goes through shame all the social workers, shame the foster system, and just say loud, adoption is child trafficking, fostering is child trafficking, everyone is on it, social services, police, judges. So I think this is working because I saw some news saying that there is less social workers now. Is a profession in decrease, if that makes sense. So I think it's working.
It is working, but I think we're going to do one more. What we're going to start doing is we're going to start arresting these. We're going to do private prosecutions in every social. We're not just going to shame them. Why should we shame them? It's like a paedophile. He rapes a child, but we should shame him. Nah. We want to grab hold of him, take him to the cells, lock him up, take him for the judge, present our evidence, and get him put in jail.
Yes.
There's no exemption for these.
No.
These things that they have, there's no exemption for them. We don't give them monkeys about that bullshit. That's just in the IDs. That's the IDs that they make in the public to think that just name and shame them. We don't need to name and shame. We need to do prosecutions.
Yes.
And then if the judge goes against us, then we'll do the prosecutions and the judges as well.
Yes, but I do not know how to do that. I don't have a group that knows how to do that. Hopefully there is a bunch of people that they come together and they learn how to do that, and please start to do that because we need that. I know that there is groups on TikTok, for example, on Facebook. They go and record the pedophiles. They go to their houses, they show the face, and they ask the police to come in and they arrest them. So yeah, please, we need that done.
It's going to be exactly the same thing, but what we want is we want our own people. We want the public. We can't trust the authorities anymore. We can't trust the police anymore. It's a shame we're going to start breaking ties with the judges and not trust them anymore in the family courts. It is a shambles. But when it comes to criminal acts, we know it's going to be different, we see. See, most of these acts take place in the family courts, which is corrupt. Them judges think that they're God. They're not God. They're not no Lord. They're just human beings. And they're not even doing the job right.
Yeah.
But there are people actually up and down the country that actually are doing this. People don't hear about it much only because we've just gone up the ladders where we've got to the King's Courts and the Queen's Courts. We're serving documents to the lot of them. That's why there's so many people leaving, because they know the game is over. They don't know what to do about it. You see, this has been going on for decades. Now it's obviously coming out that people are just sick of it. They want their kids back. And we don't want any more going into this system. This is the number one thing. We don't want them to go in. But private prosecutions are going to take place, and we are going to be making arrests. Because once you have evidence, you don't need to wait around for a police. You don't need their permission. This is what we've been indoctrinated, thinking that we could go to a police department. No, they're corrupt anyway. You see? So why would I want to go to them? We could arrest them ourselves. We could serve them the documents. We could take them to court. And we could do the prosecutions as well as name and shame them.
So you know how to do the prosecution?
I've got people who are working on this. Fortunately for me, what's actually happened for the last 3 years, or 4 years now, is every day I just have victims coming forward. So I wasn't able to move forward with other projects and things that I was doing, because it's every single day after night, it doesn't matter what it is. I mean, I've also got nearly 12 other countries that have reached out.
You did say Portugal. Portuguese mothers that are reaching you.
Sorry?
You did say that on a conversation that we had in a previous meeting. You did say that you have Portuguese mothers reaching you from Portugal, or is happening in England?
Both.
Okay.
It's also happening in New Zealand, Sweden, Norway, Australia, Hawaii, America, Canada.
Yep.
All the Western nations with social services are doing the very same thing. We could talk about, and maybe some other time, what is the bigger picture? Because we're looking at millions of children being trafficked and never to be seen again. Robbed, raped, stolen is what's happened. Murdered is what's organ harvesting. All this is taking place. But the root cause is SS, social services. And the shameful thing is, these are all women, 95% women that are coming in front. And I'm very respectful of women. When I was going through originally, I knew that women were the best to understand, with supporting and have feelings and have that compassion. This was the time that I was mistaken. that not mistaken about women in general. I was right about that, but I realized that these are wolves in sheep's clothing for real. These women have that smile coming over here to safeguard you and help you. Well, you see, it's happened so much now. People don't see now when people see social services, they call them all sorts. They come to the door, they say, they swear at them, get
just
away.
say it. Yeah.
Because these women are not to be respected.
Yeah.
But the thing is, it's not every social worker. I have more social worker women who want to help the right cause.
I think if you are a good woman, you just don't go for that profession. They stay there for one day, they see what they do, and they leave. So when I hear videos of adoptees saying, oh, my foster carer was a good woman, oh, my social worker is a good woman, I'm like, no, that's not the way to go. That's not the way to go. And the social workers, from what I've seen, yes, I agree with you, they are most women, but they do not have children, so they are not fertile, so they hate the mother, they hate the woman that can create life. So that's why you see woman as a social worker. And all of them, they have a face, the same face that when you see on the cartoons, with a big nose, with long fingers. I don't know why the cartoons, they put that characteristics, but that's actually the characteristics that they see as a social worker.
Yeah. No, it is. It's a horrible shame, but this is like a sort of a feminist issue. So not women, general women, but these feminists are deliberately targeting women, like you said, many reasons why. And most of these feminist women, we got social workers who work in my local town, where they take time off work to go home to do videos of sexual activities to make money as well. So these are the kind of people we have supporting our children. So we have social workers who take drugs, working for the authorities. We have these people who are looking after our children, which is a sickness. Why would you have these sick people anywhere near our children? This is why the public needs to wake up. It doesn't matter which country they're in, they need to wake up, but we need to all wake up together, because this is happening everywhere and we need to get it to stop. And we're willing to fight. I mean, I call my whole thing is a fight. I'm fighting them. I've got the dogs on the run, as they say. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because that's just what I think of them. I think they're low lives. And I tell them as it is. I'm not going to sugarcoat for the public, because, look, there's good and bad. We're talking about, when we talk about bad, that's what we're talking about. And if anybody wants any clarity, please come forward. I'll ask the sister here and I'll send her the evidence. You can have a look yourself.
Yeah,
so it's all about convert people.
But Rangy, most of the public, they like to see movies. They like, they still believe on Santa, if you understand what I mean, you know. So when they hear me talking or they hear you talking, I think they prefer to think that, nah, there is more to it. She's not saying the truth. Look at her. She has separate teeth. She's on drugs. That's what I have been told by mothers on the same issues. And
yeah. Well, for them people, what I'm going to say is, don't be shy. Come forward then. Let me show you what we have. And then you could decide yourself independently. Because for me at the moment, MPs, councillors, mayors, everybody is resigning. Why? Because of what is really happening. And most of these people have been watching too much Hollywood or Bollywood. I take the mick out of this all the time. You're watching too many fictional fairy tales. Okay? This is the real life thing. Okay? And this is happening whether you like it or not. Like the wars are happening, mass murder and genocide in, like, say, Palestine, that's exactly what's happening. So, see, now this is a very good similarity there. I tell people that, look, what's the difference between what's taking place with the Palestinians to what's taking place in the Western nation with our homes, regardless of our color, creed, or religion now?
Yeah.
There's no difference. Our children are stolen, they're imprisoned, they're abused, you know what I mean? They're intimidated, threatened. They get murdered. You tell me. You see, this is real life. It's just they've been watching too much movies, thinking that they're watching Hollywood. You know, if you wanted to see a real fight, this is now coming out. Come watch it because it's happening. And it's not just myself. I mean, this week I'm going to go see an MP who's reached out from another 300 miles away. And he's on board. Now, why are these MPs on board? Why are these judges on board? Are people going to say that they're deluded? You see?
Yeah.
It's just the authorities in general that are covering up everything. That's all it is. And we're not going to let that covering up. We're going to release everything.
So if a parent is in trouble and if they want your help, how can they do it? Because you said that you know how to do I'm missing the word. How to do the
prosecutions.
The prosecutions, correct.
Well,
so if I want to know how to do the prosecution, what can I do? How can I contact you to get this done?
When most people they get involved, it's different stages that they're at. Okay, if people want to do private prosecutions, if they just come together, we'll teach them, we'll show them. Okay, if they want to know about how to safeguard themselves, like we were just saying here, record everything, keep them away from the front door, have an independent person there, and anything they do, report that crime. Even though it's going to a fraudulent police station. Okay, that's just documented, that's all it is. So it's all different levels. So as they come involved, depends on what level they are. See, at the moment, for example, when I'm seeing any victim, I'll do an assessment. For example, I'll learn about what was taking place before social workers got involved. I'll learn about how social workers intervene and got involved and where they are today. Now, depending on that is how we're going to strategize that. Now, there's a lot of social workers actually joining the force, actually, up and down the country. They're coming on board because they're seeing the corruption. But in that, for example, there's also another issue that I have, which I'm taking the forefront of that. If I find out any child is going through physical, emotional, psychological, any form of abuse, I'll blow the whistle immediately. I'm not waiting for no Tom, Dick, and Harry to tell me what to do. The only thing I do is I protect the children's names and I protect the parents and I'll take the fight. This is what we need to do. This is military thought process because the military goes and defends the nation. This is what we need to do. So we do that side of it. If they want to, and then you got sections where people are coming forward just to blow the whistle or go public on the story. I'm happy to do that also. Still, taking consideration of child protection and safeguarding issues first. Then it's like legal teams. At the moment, we've got a lot of people coming forward, and we have the people who are legally qualified who will do prosecutions, which the authorities don't know about that yet, simply because I'm over in a day. But within the next 2 weeks, I will be in that situation, and we will be targeting and go for prosecutions. But we will be targeting every single person who's on our list.
Is these people going to help the parents? Do the parents they will have to pay for the prosecution because everyone has the bills, or because these parents they don't have money?
Yeah, no. When it comes to funding, for example, even till today, I've never charged anybody for anything.
So I think it'll be a good idea to have a fund where everyone can put money in, and then there is a team doing the prosecution, one case at a time, and joining forces like that. Now I have to ask you as well: is any children back from any case that you know? Do you see any children going back after the prosecution?
Because of the pressure that has been getting built up, we have had children come home before the prosecution, because the prosecutions is separate. Even when we get our children back for the wrong what they've done, we're prosecuting them. So the idea that they have is, hey, take your children back now. Thank you very much, but for what damage you did, we're still going to prosecute you.
So how many children have been given back?
To what I understand at the moment, it's not as much, but we're getting about 10%. In general, 10% we're getting back. And that's simply because there's not enough people helping and supporting. If we had more people to help and support, it'd be better.
Yeah.
But you're right. It is to do with funding. Now, funding, if people do start donating, it does help. But one of the things that we have sort of put in place, which is going to be complete, hopefully by April, we're going to do class actions, meaning in every town, because I've travelled majority of the country. I'm currently working with 277 towns and cities that is happening. So if we're trying to get about 4+ victims in that department, and if we get 4+, then what we're doing is we're getting a particular team to take the class action for all 4 to the local council in one go. Instead of doing it one by one, because they will be here forever.
Yeah.
So if we do 4, 4, or 5, 5 in one time, we got 50.
Yeah.
So you see, so we'll do 50 at one time, 20 at one time, but in every town and city. So this is about building up, obviously, legal side of it. Also, I know the military is also helping in this.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of people are awake, they just don't know how to deal with it, because in UK, the police have actually sold the public out.
Mm-hmm.
The police are actually allowing all these crimes to take place, including child sexual abuse.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the big issue that we have. Even though there is signs of that they are, I mean, I think this last year there was about 600 police officers arrested for this particular crime, child sexual abuse. But the problem we have when they go to court, nobody's really getting sentenced neither. They're letting them out at the same time. So it's like sick on sickness, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, so if you're part of that gang, you're okay.
Yeah, I can see that. So if there is a place where we can donate, I don't know if you have that already created or not, but once you have that created, we can share that and we can start put some funds so you can start doing the prosecution and we can start seeing results. I think the work that you have been doing is amazing. There is so many groups on Facebook for forced adoptions. These groups, they have 25,000 members, so you can see that there is a lot of children that have been kidnapped, and the fact that you have like almost 25k followers on TikTok, that says a lot. So there is many children screaming for help. Rangy, thank you so much. I will leave the last words for you, and thank you so much for joining us and being such a strong man on this huge fight. I wish the best for your children. I really hope that your little one will come home as soon as possible, and I believe that love heals everything. And I will leave you the last words, please.
Well, firstly, I want to thank you again for getting me on this. For the public, I need you to wake up. For any clarity, please get in touch. Don't be scared. We're dealing with a pandemic, a real pandemic, not a fraudulent one, and you need to stay strong, especially for all the victims that are listening to this. And if you need any form of advice and guidance or some sort of support that we could offer, please contact us on www.lcs.news. And we are winning, but we'll win a lot faster if all of us work together as a team. Together, each achieve more. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for listening to us. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And guys, I hope that you really appreciate that we have done in here. Thank you so much for watching this video, and subscribe and share, and go and follow Rangy on TikTok, because we all need the support. Thank you so much. Have a good... Thank you. See you in the next video. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.